Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk a little bit about snobbery. Before I do, make sure you click on the like, hit subscribe, and make sure you click on the bell for notifications. Now, you may notice a different location to my usual setting. I've decided, as the weather's starting to cheer up, I've done a video from my gazebo where I do my training. Okay, so if it's a little bit muffled, I'll get a bit of wind, please excuse it. Now, what do I mean by snobbery? I'm just talking about the whole idea where somebody needs to make themselves feel better than somebody else by comparing themselves to somebody else. Usually this is done by putting the other person down. Okay. Now, we've all come across it, and you may stop and think, oh, that's what the rich people do. Rich people do this to the poor people. They make you feel small. They talk down to you, and it's not. It's not purely the domain of the rich where we get the snobbery. It's unfortunately there's a lot of snobbery, in my opinion, coming down all the way down through to those people who don't have a lot of money. Yeah, it's not just the wealthy anymore. Now, just what do I mean by that? Well, you used to have these clearly defined ideas that somebody was rich and they were looking down their nose at you, and you would try your best to be like them, and afraid that they would look down on you. The whole idea of keeping up with the Joneses. But I've seen this now starting to permeate across the whole spectrum of society now, where people are so determined to make themselves look at least as good as their neighbours, or if they can better, that they put each other down. And when we do this, we cause a whole raft of problems within society. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I mean by that. So people might not have a lot of money, but they might want to look like they do. And so people are always out to try and buy a better car than their neighbours. Yeah, have the bigger TV, the better brands, where they shop. Do you shop at Aldi, Lidl? Do you shop at Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer's? Yeah, you get all these arguments amongst people going, oh, I wouldn't be seen dead there. Oh no, I shop at X, Y, or Z. The problem with snobbery, whether it's by the rich looking down at the poor, whether it's by the nouveau riche trying to make themselves feel big, against everybody because they've just come into that money and they're trying to show it off, whether it's the poor trying to make themselves look better than each other because they don't want to be the poor house, the poor family, the poor neighbours. Yeah, it's just as damaging. It doesn't matter where it's coming from or who's directed at it is damaging. I'm not rich, not by a long stretch, but I'm also at the moment not poor. And I've talked about money and I've talked about my change in attitude quite a bit now. And another example of this, when I was younger and I first started work, I wanted to have the best car that I could afford. And I could never afford, a great top of the line car. But, I was always after a pretty decent second hand Ford or something like this, but always wanted to try and have the best that I could for the money. But it just meant that I was putting all my money into trying to have the best car. When now I know I can actually not go for the big brands and I can get actually a really adequate, even decent car for a lot less, and I've got more money now in order to live my life and not feel that pinch of the purse, yeah. Always looking to scrape a few pounds together to make sure I can pay the bills in the next month, yeah. Because I made those little sacrifices, I've been able to look now and say, well, when I buy, let's say, a BMW or a Mercedes, even a lower end one, who am I buying that for? Is it necessarily a better car for what I'm doing? If I'm only doing a short commute, short journeys, do I need to have a great big expensive luxury car, all the leather interiors, the best sound systems, and have the biggest alloys, the widest tyres? These things mean absolutely nothing. For me, for a car, I drive, well, I'll say it, I drive a Dacia. Why do I drive Dacia? Because they do the job and they're cheap. That's all I need. I don't care what other people think of the car I drive. The car is mine for a practical purpose, and that is why I buy the car that I do. And if I was trying to buy the equivalent in a name brand just so I can say I've got a name brand, guess what? I wouldn't have any money. And it's the same with many things. I don't care what games consoles you buy. I buy what's right for me. I'm not going to buy because that's the popular one. I don't care what mobile phone is the popular one. I'm not going to spend £1,000 on an iPhone because it will do absolutely nothing for me. Okay, I'm recording right now on my smartphone, and it costs me less than £20 a month. Why do I need to be having £1,000 iPhones that cost me a fortune every month with all the features on them that I just don't use? Because who are you really having it for? I mean, if you are, let's say, a professional in one way or another, and the big brand does what you need, and it's only that brand that has the features and the functions, whether we're talking about cars or technology or whatever, yeah, then that is absolutely fine. You go with what you need. But if you can learn to take a step back and say, well, who am I buying this for? Is it just for my needs? Is it becoming a luxury? And is it something I'm just using to try and keep up? Something I'm using to try and show off? And on top of that, when I see somebody else who has something less than I have in any way, whether it's by price, by branding, whatever else, do I then say, oh, well, that's rubbish, I wouldn't touch that? No, why is that any of my business? So this is what I'm talking about with the snobbery. You've got to choose what's right for you. And you know what? If you want to use your money to buy things which are superfluous to your needs, and just something that allows you to show off, that's something that you're proud that you've been able to afford, then fine, that's great for you. And I have nothing against that. But please don't use what you do have as a means to put down somebody else in order to make you feel even bigger or better. Okay, so when you see me driving down in my little Dacia, you won't get to me, you won't bug me. When you drive up behind me and you start revving your engine and pipping the horn and then race around me even though I'm doing the speed limit, I don't care. That's your lifestyle, that's how you choose to live. I'm not going to try and keep up with you. I'm not going to get sucked into your game, because all it does is it ends in me then trying to keep up with you, and that means spending money that I don't have on things I don't need just to try and keep up with you. And do you know what? As a kid, I fell for it, hook, line and sinker. I fell for it all the time, and I spent the money and I wasted it, and I'd be in a better position now if I hadn't. But the benefit of hindsight is I can look back and say, I wish I'd known then what I know now. And this is my message for today. When it comes to things that you have, if you see your neighbours showing off and they've got the bigger, better, shinier, more expensive model car than you, don't worry about it. That's them, that's their life, it's nothing to do with you. Okay, and it's the same with anything. If you've bought yourself a house, then fair play, you've bought yourself a house. Okay, great. I wish everyone had the opportunity to buy a house. And if somebody tries to look down the nose at the house that you've managed to buy, well, what's it to do with them? Just ignore it. It can be hurtful, but you've got to try and get over this. Okay, you've done your best to get where you are. You just put you on the property ladder, and you've got that equity to build up, and you can always look to improve in time. And if you're renting, what are you renting? Are you renting something bigger than your need, or have you bought something bigger than your need just so that you can say you've got a 3, 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom, whatever else, or do you actually need what you are purchasing or renting? Because if you don't need it and you're paying for it, then it doesn't matter how good it is, it's just a waste. If you can afford to waste the money on things that you don't need and that's your luxury, then again, fair play to you. But we really have to start looking at our needs and our wants, and we've got to make sure we fulfill our needs first. The wants are important, but if we're getting things and fulfilling our wants and then some of our needs are having to be put by the wayside in order to fulfill the wants, then we've got our priorities a bit wrong. I learned the hard way, as I said. I've been in debt, I've been in trouble, and I'm correcting everything now. Okay, and I hope that if you're out there and you're seeing this and you're thinking, actually, do you know what? Yeah, I wish I hadn't bought this 5-bedroom house for just 2 of us. Then, it's something to learn from. And I'll say I'm never here to criticise people. I don't criticise people. What I'm saying is these are the lessons I've learned, and this is how I think we as a society can improve. And part of that is by looking at what we need and addressing our needs. Once we've addressed our needs, then we can address our wants. And if we do it the other way around, what do I want? Great. And then the needs, this is where we end in trouble. Because what happens? By trying to go for our wants before we've dealt with our needs, then often we end up in debt because we have to find other funds in order to have that lifestyle. We're putting ourselves into debt, we're borrowing money, or maybe worse, maybe you go into crime in order to fund it. Yeah, different people, different situations. But then, if you're so determined that you've got to have X, Y, and Z, and you can't have all the wants that you have, then you're more likely then to put down other people who have, or you see as having less than you, in order to make yourself feel better than them at least, because we all want to be better than others. Yeah, it's a real dangerous trap, and this is half of the problem I think with society now, is we're also determined to be competitive. And YouTube, I'm on here now, yeah, but all of these fake people on YouTube who have these immaculate houses, do you know what? Try living my life, try dealing with my kids, and if you can maintain your house in that state with my kids, fair play to you. You're obviously a better person than I am, but it's just not realistic, not for the vast majority of people. So do you know what? If you are a YouTuber, if you are putting videos out, if you are showing your life, then don't be fake about it. Show what it's really like. Don't put it on, because by putting it on and making it look like people like you can live that life, or people like me can live that life that you're pretending to have, then you're causing problems, because people are going to put themselves in debt or have all sorts of mental health issues and anxieties about trying to keep up. So, you know what? If that's your lifestyle, if you've got the nice house on YouTube, I've got nothing against you. But if you're faking it and you're trying to make out that you've got all this when actually you haven't, then just consider you might be adding to the problem. Okay, so I don't live a life of luxury. I have some luxuries, yes I do, but I've made sure now I look after my needs first, my family's needs first, and then I look after the wants, if we can. And if we can't have the wants, guess what? We save for them. So let's drop the snobbery. Stop worrying about being as good as other people. Stop worrying that you might not be better than other people. Stop worrying that somebody else might have more than you and putting them down to make yourself feel better. It's a simple message. All my messages are. And I'm going to keep it nice and short today. So, if you've got anything you want to say, drop me a comment. I love comments. I love responding to them. And I look forward to doing the next video. So thank you for watching to the end. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.